Join. What's up, people?
Good morning.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, depending on where you are, one side of the country might still be morning, the other side's afternoon. All right, let me just make sure it's recording. Good deal. We are recording. All right. So guys, here's what I wanted to do today. I love to do, it's what I call stump the chump. So your Coach Corn is a chump today, right? No, but really just bringing real stuff to the call that you guys can tangibly take things away as a group, mastermind around some things. What are you really struggling with? And most of the time, what you're probably dealing with is probably happening in somebody else's world as well. Not only that, if you looked at the 3 questions, you know, what's something cool that you'd like to do? And I'll tell you what kind of sparked this to be the topic today is the one-on-one coaching calls this week. With the things that you're doing to get the next piece of business, you know, what are you doing to not just do it as a quick event, do it as a shot in the dark, but what are you doing to turn it into an event? And I talk about the timelines all the time, right? Whether you're going to do lunch and learn, what are the touches before, what are the touches after, and be on purpose about it and make it have its life and more than just meet, do the lunch and learn and, oh, cool, there were some agents there and I had one come up and talk to me. It's about getting 10 of them to come up and talk to you over the next 2, 3, 4 months. Because most of the time, in perspective, most of the agents that we're talking to on a daily basis, they don't have a buyer just sitting there and they were just waiting for some loan officer to call them today and see if they could get them approved for them, right? They're getting buyers, it's happening in real time, and they're throwing it somewhere to the first thing they can find or first person they can think of. And so when you create this timeline around everything you do, anything and everything you do, that you're there 3 or 4 or 5 times after you've made that initial call or after you didn't get the referral, so that you will be there when that buyer pops up. And they're coming at them at all different angles, and they're usually just moving at the speed of light. So what kind of came out of some coaching calls today is talking to a very, very high top producer and doing an event, and she didn't even think about like, well, what would the touches be after the event? And it's like it's honoring women in business in her local community, where she gets to send invitations to 100 of the top women realtors in her community and do like a thing where they just honor these top 100 women realtors, right? She didn't even think about what the follow-up would be after, like if you took pictures at the event, sending them a postcard with a picture of them at the photo op, honoring those people on a list or any of that kind of stuff. And that's from a top producer. So that's why I keep talking about the timelines a lot, so that you can get more bang for your buck. And then the last thing I'll say, and I'll kind of open it up if you guys have questions or where you want this conversation to go, is that there's 2 worlds that we live in. This one is the immediate business, and we all want immediate business. We want to grab that next deal and get an application when we make a call and talk to somebody. And then we've got the long-term relationship where that business will just come to you. The phone will just ring when you get your realtor that knows you've done a couple of deals. They know they can trust you. They like you. They know you know what you're doing, and they'll send you more business. So the 2 worlds, though, this world over here, where I call it the habit method, or I don't call it that. It's actually I referenced the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. And I know this sounds weird, but this says Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
You want to spin that little
You guys,
you
guys want to get this book and have it on your bookshelf. I'm just muting the background noise there. You want to read this book if you can, and just take the word real estate agent out and plug in mortgage professional, and 70% of this book will relate to you. But actually 100% of this book should relate to you, because your main core customer that most loan officers go after is the real estate agent. So you can use the lingo in this book, and it's really not, it's written by Gary Keller,
Okay.
but it's really not a Keller Williams book. I don't even know if Keller Williams is even mentioned in the book at all, other than in the back. Maybe he interviewed a couple of the agents that were at KW, but he interviewed agents all over in all different companies when he formulated the studies in the book. But you can use this lingo with any single agent, any agent at any company. The more you can internalize this, it will show up in your business, but it'll also give you that lingo to talk to agents. And this is kind of what, it'll focus here in a minute. This is kind of what came up in a call this morning, one of my coaching calls this morning. And this is basically the haven't met or mass population. This is a targeted group. Like if you were to target a group of realtors in a certain area, right? This would be like all realtors. This would be realtors that are like in a Keller Williams office, and you're targeting Keller Williams office or Coldwell Banker office or whatever. And then these are the people that you actually end up meeting. And these different types of touches, the 12 touch and the 8x8 and 33 touch, are how often you will communicate with them. So once you meet somebody and you connect with them and they call them a met, you're going to put them on a more consistent follow-up plan. Like you wouldn't just throw somebody on an 8x8 and send me 8 things in 8 weeks and we hadn't really talked, or if I saw you from across the room and I just start sending you 8 things in 8 weeks. I already know you guys won't do that, and you probably shouldn't do that. But you want to get something out there in front of me after an event, maybe once a month, that makes me not forget that I saw you at the event. Maybe we didn't really connect yet, so that you can get to the point where you can have that connection. Now, here's the big difference is, took me a second to find this one. Let me see. I thought I had it tabbed. Oh, I do have it tabbed. It's the return on investment. And again, I'm just kind of setting this for today, and hopefully it'll kind of spur you guys to bring up some topics that you want to talk about. Let's see here. Where is it? Where is it? I need my glasses. There's a return on investment on this 8x8 and 33 touch in a study that was done. And I thought I had it marked. So what it is it's basically an 8x8 and a 36 touch when you meet somebody. Oh, here we go. I think I'm getting there. There's a 50-to-1 return on people that you haven't met. So that outer ring, if you're doing mass marketing to people, whatever you're putting out there, whether you're sending it once a month or twice a month, probably not doing too much more than that, or once a quarter, if they don't really know you yet, they haven't connected with you, there's a 50-to-1 return, meaning for every 50 people you have on this consistently every month for years, not just every month for 6 months, but every month for a year, 2 years, 3 years, you should expect to get one piece of business for every 50 people on it. However, whatever that is, when you connect with them and you move them into this brand plan, the 8x8 touch spreadsheet that we've done in our previous call, or the 33 touch, your return on investment goes up to 12-to-2, which means for everybody you move out of that outer ring into that inner ring and you put on that plan and you stay in touch with them, you call them twice in the first 8 weeks, you just follow that spreadsheet that I gave everyone. And if you didn't get it, I'm going to send it out again after this call attached to the call that we have today. That if you do that, for every 12 people that you move into that plan, you're going to get 2 pieces of business. 1, they do business with you, and 2, they give you repeat business. Now, what you guys get to amplify is that's the realtor's world. Those numbers are from the real estate agent's perspective. It's also your perspective on your real, true consumer database, your past clients that you've done loans with. Those numbers are exactly the same for you. 1 will do business with you, 2, and the second one will refer you. But every 12 people that you would get back in touch with that you've ever done a loan for, you're going to get a 12-to-2 return. Now, if I have 5 real estate agents that I build relationships with and get that, now I have 5 people that have a 12-to-2 return on their database. So you actually get to amplify these numbers by 5 because you're leveraging the real estate agent's business as well. So hopefully that kind of gives you a little core of how this works. How's everybody feeling about that conversation? Anybody have any questions? Follow that? Want more?
Can you get a picture of your ring?
Say that again.
Yeah, picture a PDF or something on that ring.
Yep. You know what? That is a great idea. I will do that and I'll send it out in the email. And like I said, go ahead and you should really have a copy of this book. Now, actually, if you guys have a connection at Keller Williams, if you as a loan officer show up to your person that you know real well there and say, hey, I've heard about this red book. I would love to get a copy of it and understand your business. They'll probably give you a copy of it, right? And if it's, you should be able to give this book to anybody, but there are other companies out there that, you know, they're afraid of Keller Williams a little bit. So they have to like say, oh, they're the devil. So like a Coldwell Banker agent, if you can give it to them and they don't worry about Keller Williams, then you can give them the book too, and they can grow their business. It doesn't say Keller Williams on it anywhere other than Gary Keller. It is the blueprint to a $1 million real estate business. So, and that's just so you guys know the validity with us coaching together is I haven't built $1 million business, but I built a $500,000 business. And what I did was my passion really went back into helping people figure out that this really is this easy. So I've divided my time up with coaching to be with you guys in coaching, training, speaking. If I just did real estate and I gave this up, I'd be at $1 million. So hopefully I can make $500,000 as a coach and then I'm still at $1 million, but I'm having fun, right? I don't know that. I mean, $1 million net real estate business is going to require 4 hours a day, 5 days a week on the phone talking to people. So that's still a job, right? That's still a job to me. I would rather, what I've done is over 20, 30 years, I built it to where the phone's ringing back in so I don't have to call out, but I do have to call and maintain my relationships. And it's why I only do 100 sales a year, because I actually have a database that could do 500 sales. So once I find those team members that will duplicate what I've done, if I find 5 team members that do 100, then we've got our 500 sales and they're all sitting right in my database.
I love how you said
That's why I share all this stuff with you guys. Go
Is
ahead.
that information also in this book?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
you can read that book and in the first 2 pages go, I mean, it's just crazy.
Okay.
I think it was tactic number 5. If you got the book right there, open it up to tactic number 5. I love where he says, so what good is a lead? If you don't get a name and a number, and I add address in there, if you don't get a name, address, and a phone number, what good is the lead? If you get the name, address, and phone number and don't get an appointment, what good is the lead? Right? I mean, you can't close anything without any of that stuff. And so many times we capture a lead with just an email and we just put them on an all email drip plan. Well, you can't move them from that outer ring to the inner ring to go from 50 to 1 return to 12 to 2 return.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So last thing I'll say on that, if I had 1,000 people, let's just say 500 realtors in your marketplace that you're going to market to, you get the whole list of all the realtors in your area, and I'm going to market to those 500 realtors. And I'm just going to send it out just like you probably have done in the past, like you've seen people do in the past, market to those 500 agents with some blast message, put them on HomeBot. We talked about that on one call where they're getting their home stats, posting stuff on social media. If I'm just doing that with those 500 people off of a list, how many of them will actually bring you business, right? It's going to be a small number. But if I took those 500 people and put them on my brand plan spreadsheet, I just listed all the names, and I just start with 5 today, and I call, pick up the phone, connect with them. I'll dial through those numbers until 5 of them have a decent conversation with me. And then I'll put that date in the first column and send them a note. Say, it was great connecting today. Look forward to keeping in touch. Thanks for your time. Something like that, right? And then tomorrow I come in, I just call through until I get 5 more and put the date in the first column, send those notes. Now, see, I'm not doing anything with the first 5 yet. They don't have to do anything for 7 days on that brand plan spreadsheet. And if you haven't seen it yet, it's basically name, address, phone number. The first column says make a phone call, connect, and write a note. Wait 7 days and then send an email. Wait 7 days and then send something in the mail. Wait 7 days and then send a text message. Wait 7 days and call them again. Wait 7 days and send another email. Wait 7 days and do a social media post. Wait 7 days and do another phone call. So it's 8 weeks long. And if you just putting the date in there, then you can visually see every day, oh, it's been 3 weeks since I did the call and the note. I got busy and got sidetracked. I need to go ahead and send that email now. I'm 2 weeks behind schedule, and you can write the date in there. So when you're following this spreadsheet, if you were to put all 500 agents on there and just work on connecting with 5 a day, listen to this. Blast mail to 500 people. Just you guys tell me, how many deals would you get? And if you just put 500 people on a mass email or mass whatever, and you're going to get some deals back. Would you guys agree? It's probably a couple if you're lucky, right? But if I took 5 a day on those 500, and I really truly committed to it, it's 5 today, 5 tomorrow, 5 the next day, and that I'm just regimented. That would be 25 people a week, 100 a month. It would only take you 5 months to personally talk to all 500 of those realtors. And now you moved them from the outer ring to the inner ring. And already, even though you might not be on the 12-2 return yet, you are definitely way better than 50-1, aren't you? And over a 5-month period, you're going to pick up probably at least 4 times more business from moving them to that inner ring. So that's why I preach on that so much. I call it preaching, but I really shouldn't, because that actually downplays how important it is. And it is the only thing that is critically important. Like all my coaching calls with you guys this month. And if we haven't done our one-on-one yet, or it's not scheduled, shoot me an email. Let's get it on the calendar. But if those calls, everything you guys are doing, if you can get them to the brand plan spreadsheet and just follow that, you will get a huge return on it. Huge return. All right. So now I'm going to shut up for a minute, because I wanted this to kind of be open for you guys to really mastermind around what some of your challenges are. And somebody else may have had that same challenge and figured out a way they're working towards it. And then together we can plus that and make it even better. You might have something that you've been wanting to do, but you haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. Throw that out. Somebody else has probably already done something similar. We'll bring what they did. And then as a group, we can plus that to go from that 50-1 return to a 12-2 return. Does that make sense? So did anybody kind of put any thought into anything that you wanted to really throw as a topic on the table today? I mean, I've got some ideas if I have to go there to get you guys spurred up and going, but I wanted to see if you guys had anything challenging going on. Maybe you've done something and it just didn't get the results that you thought it was going to get, or you had a great opportunity and maybe it didn't pan out as well as you thought.
So one of the things that I've recently done was put out our purchase power program flyer. And Brad, you and I talked about that on our one-on-one, and
Yep.
I was concerned about not knowing the details of this and how it works and things like that. And so I thought, well, I just want to wait for the guidelines to come out so I can, because I had 2 agents come back and say, hey, I'm really interested in this. I'm going to reach out to you. So I waited for them to reach out. They didn't. I actually just called them and followed up with an email today. I also called the investor and tried to learn a little bit more. Didn't want to wait for our guidelines, and found out. I said, hey, you guys, if you had a flow chart to show me how this works, this would be really cool. And she said, as a matter of fact, we do. I'll send it to you. So for me, that's a visual concept. So this way, when I have that conversation with the realtor, I can really talk to them about it and feel like I know what I'm talking about instead of stumbling over my words. So I did take that advice. And just to add on that, the one thing that I think I've mentioned as well is that I've really, really worked hard in Total Expert. And that's totally kept me on track of my tasks, my follow-up. And then I'm really bad at cards. I had a settlement yesterday. I actually came back to the office and I sent thank you notes in a card, mailed it out to the listing agent and the buyer's agent. And so I could go to 500 agents in my list, but I don't have that connection. So I'm kind of starting with the newer agents that I started working with, or people that know me best because the transaction is newer. And this way I think I can still add people in, and I will do that, but I really want to focus on them since they're going to remember me more since the recent transactions. So that's kind of where I'm at and what I've done. or it's still a challenge to stay on top of following on tasks because you get calls and applications, but
Yeah, so let me peel a couple of these things back, and then I'm going to throw it back to you guys to see if anybody has anything to add. So the first thing on the purchase power program, whether you know what that is, whether you know what the details are or not, it's just like we had the conversation. It's kind of like ready, fire, aim, get it out there and it will get the ball rolling. So you're already farther along than trying to get everything figured out before you take it to anybody, because there's lost business happening. Listen, when you move somebody from this haven't met outer ring to the connected inner ring, and I'm going to peel apart the note for a second, that handwritten note without an I, me, or my in it, write that down. No I, me, or my when you write the note. No business card on just on this first one. I am all about branding, marketing, business card, all that, but not on your very first connection where you connect with somebody. It literally is about them as much as possible. It was so great connecting. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. Congratulations on, making it through this, or congratulations on your recent sale, or congratulations on your kids, getting proposed to, your daughter being proposed to this weekend. That's me, if you knew that from Facebook, right? Looking forward to keeping in touch, Brad. That's it. What happens there is it helps you move them from that outer ring to the inner ring, because when they get that note in the mail, it feels good. It's just the human piece that is missing from a lot of things. And as much as you want to ask them if they've got somebody sitting there, listen, if an agent has a buyer that they need to get approved and you're having that connection call, they will not get off the call without saying, oh, it's kind of weird you called today because I have a buyer right now. I need to get approved. You'll get that business anyway if it's there. So knowing that it's probably not there, we're just not even going to go there. We're just going to connect first. And when they get that, so I ran through that every 7 days, right, on the brand plan. What really truly happens from the human nature side of things is the reason why you don't skip the call on week 4 is because 4 weeks ago, well, actually 3 weeks ago and about, 5 days, they got a note card in the mail from you that felt good. Now, if you sent the email that just said, hey, by the way, if you need a quick approval, here's a link to my online app, and you all have it right there on your Movement Mortgage website. And then I drop my bio in the mail a week later. And then I send a text message the week after that and just say to a text message, say, oh, by the way, if you don't have that app on your phone, here it is. And then the phone rings. Whether they paid attention to this stuff or not is irrelevant. I don't even care if they even look at it or don't look at it. They just saw your name and the brand. And it was like, that note was awesome that somebody actually did that. That note was awesome. That note was awesome. That note was awesome. And then the phone rings and they see your name and they're like, hey, thank you so much. That note was so awesome. That was so awesome of you to send that. They took your call because it was about that, not because it was about the first call out of the blue was, hey, do you have anybody, throw me a bone? Do you have somebody you need me to approve? Because if I make that call in 4 weeks and they don't have somebody, they're just going to go, oh, I don't have anything for them this week either. So I'll let it go to voicemail. And you don't get them on the phone and you don't get to continue. So a couple things happening there just by beginning that and starting that and putting them in total expert and scheduling out those touches, you're going to move them over. And if you don't skip the note part, you'll be in there a lot quicker. So that's the last thing I'll tell you on the total expert stuff. Whether you like it, whether you don't, I'm just going to be honest. You are going to hate every single database with an absolute passion for the rest of your life. Meaning you might have one that you really like and that you use every day, right? I know Ed uses some stuff that works great for him and he loves that automation and stuff that's built in. What I'm saying is there's never going to be in the history of the world, the one database that everybody uses that does everything we want it to do. Right? Everything's always going to be missing something or be a little clunky or be this or be that. But what I want you to be aware of and what came out of these manual spreadsheets that we talk about, these timelines on the brand plan with the columns in a spreadsheet that you write down the people's names or type them in on your computer, which is what most of you are probably doing. But if you're writing those down, The difference is if I were to take all 8 of those touches and just schedule them on the first day I put somebody in, right? So when, gosh, I forgot who was, Kimberly, when Kimberly was talking about putting people in Total Expert, then as soon as she puts the person in, she just schedules out the next 8 things that would be on that manual spreadsheet. She actually puts in there, send a note card, and that happens today. Now she's just now putting them in, just got off the phone. She hasn't sent the note yet, or even if she has sent the note, I would still say put it in and then mark the activity done, right? So that you do that on every single contact you add where you connected. But then I would schedule the email to go out 7 days later, schedule the mail piece to go, a reminder to mail that thing 14 days later, schedule the text message 21 days later. It will take you less than 10 seconds. Once you start doing this every day and you're doing it with 5 people a day, let it take you less than 10 seconds just to book out all of that. And then in Total Expert, what you would do is schedule a task in 8 weeks that says no more tasks are scheduled. So that if you get to that last task, which is the call on week 8, there's actually another to-do that pops up that says no more tasks are scheduled, so that you know you got to schedule the next task and keep them rolling. Does that make sense?
So
Yeah, go
can I
ahead.
add to that really quick. So there's actually an action plan in Total Expert that you could set up every week what your task is going to be doing. Then you save that, and then when you add somebody, you can add that action plan to them, so
Yep.
you don't have to manually input each one over and over again.
Yep. And remember, so that's what I was coming to next. I hadn't seen that you can put the campaign together and have it all sitting there if you could customize it yet. So I didn't know that. That's good. If I have that customized and set up as a campaign, you guys, just like she was just talking about, you're only going to start 5 people on it a day. You don't get all excited about it, put in the 500 agents and start them all on that plan today, because then you're going to have 500 calls in 4 weeks. You're going to have 500 calls in 8 weeks. You want to do 5 today, 5 the next, 5 the next. But here's the caution is that, and this was actually on my call this morning, you have to keep up with it if you're going to do that, which means that you got to commit that you're going to open it up every single day and you are going to own whatever is in that task list. Because once you get all 500 people in there in 5 months, I can promise you this, you won't have 500 calls in one day. You won't even have 20 calls in one day. I promise it will not show up, but you might have 10 calls in one day and 10 or 12 to-dos. And you have to do those every single day, no matter how busy your day is, no matter what file is blowing up, you have to get it done, because once you turn these on, you can't turn them off. And if you just do it anyway and you start to fall behind, you won't be able to catch up, because you're going to have 10 more tomorrow and 10 more the next day. And then you're just going to say, that really didn't work anyway, and it's because you skipped a day. So this is the core activities there. It's actually kind of boring. I love that I got stuck here, because otherwise right now I would probably be on a stage selling some program to hundreds of realtors and hundreds of loan officers that they sign up for $59 or $159 a month. And they would all come through, they'd quit, and I'd go get another 1,000, get another 1,000. I'd just, instead of selling a house, I'd be selling a program, and I don't want to do that. So I'm glad I got stuck here, because there's nothing glamorous about just doing 5 a day, writing a note. There's nothing fun about it. It is, though, the core that you can absolutely guarantee on 100 deals a year, every year, with every 1,000 people that you put on it. So in 5 years, if you did 5 a day for 5 years, you'll have 6,000 relationships in your database. Let me tell you something. You'll never, ever have to find another lead the rest of your career, because you will have, if everybody's moving every 5 to 7 years, you got 700 transactions a year happening every 12 months with 6,000 people in your database. Now, if those are realtors, again, amplify it, because if you show them how to do the same thing, then you're going to amplify your business. Now you could be, if you had 10 realtors, you're at 7,000 closings a year. You won't even be able to handle it. All you have to do is capture a quarter of them and you're set, right? So anyway, that's how this all works. Yeah, go ahead, Ed.
Who was just speaking? Was that Kim?
That was Kim. Yeah.
Kim, are you available to chat for a half second, or are you on a call? So I'm really curious as to this campaign that she was referring to.
Yeah, Ed, can you, I'd love to, I had to take this call. I do apologize. I'll be on for 2 minutes. Can I get back to you?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, we definitely want to hear about the campaign, because that is,
I've been looking through it and I've been trying to do something along those lines and split up my database a little bit and kind of put some leads into these campaigns. I mean, if Movement's putting all this time and effort into creating these campaigns, like I'll start putting my leads in there, because I'm having a tough time pulling their campaigns and putting it into my CRM.
right.
So I have no problem in doing that, but my experience has been pretty tough with the other one. So I'm just looking forward to someone that's done it already and knows what's up. So
Well, and when you guys dig into the campaigns too, here's what most databases do not have. I'll say most, all of them don't have the personal touch built into it. They've got the automated emails. Total Expert, I think it even has the automated text messages. So there's a lot of automation in there. Just make sure you throw in a manual touch or call or, you know, personal note in there somewhere mixed up inside of it. And that's what will make the plan powerful. So, because HomeBot's awesome. I mean, one of the things we talked about on one of our recent calls is HomeBot is an automated generation that sends out, if you get their home address, you could do this with realtors. It's going to send them information about their neighborhood. And you guys, you know, correct me if I say something wrong, but it tracks their open rate and all this other stuff, right? And Total Expert tracks open rate. I don't want you guys to get caught up in open rate, because what I would challenge somebody on something that's too automated. So let's just say, and I'm not saying this is HomeBot, but if I were going to go with HomeBot and I'm going to get 100 realtors on it and I'm going to send it to them and I've got a really good open rate, if you want to know if it's really impacting and getting you top of mind, and this came up in the coaching call this morning, remember, whatever we're doing, one of my coaching clients got a course, one of the Movement Mortgage courses approved as continuing education. So this is where we're going to throw out a couple ideas. He got it CE approved for his state. So on Friday, he gets to release his class as a CE, which is going to drive realtors to get their continuing education. And he's going to be teaching the class, right? Now, here's where you got to plus it a little bit. So you got the CE opportunity, you're going to be in front of the realtors. Well, guess what Coach Korn asked? What's your lead up to the CE class? What's your follow-up after the CE class? Because honestly, this is not about the CE class. The CE class is not going to get you loans. What you do before and after the CE class with the relationships that you connect to the realtors that show up to get their CE, that's where your business begins. So this isn't even really about a CE class. Who gives it? It could be anything, right? But it's how are you going to follow up before and after it? And how are you going to, if you got 50 real estate agents to show up for your CE class, you're probably got, I mean, you can market to all 50 of them. You got the list and you can put them on whatever. I can put them all on HomeBot. I can put them all on a drip plan. I can do all that. But in reality, those 50 people, you're probably going to have 5 or so realtors come up to you after the class and want to ask questions about something you're teaching, right? And then there's probably going to be maybe 5 more out of those 50 that as you're mingling around the room, you talked a little bit and you just had a little two-way good conversation. It was decent. They weren't rude to you or anything. You had a couple chuckles, maybe it's somebody you knew, whatever. There's going to be 40 people in there that they came in, they did the CE and they walked out the back door. Is everybody in agreement with these numbers, right? I mean, this is going to happen time in, time out, all the time. So when I'm marketing to those 40 people that just came in, got their CE and left, I'm just being deleted in chunks of emails on the automation. But if I took those 5 people or those 10 people that I actually talked to and I get them in this example, what Ed's saying, total expert, and I put them on the brand plan campaign, and I write those 10 people a note. I don't write 50 handwritten notes. Those 40 of those people are still in the outer ring. There's nowhere in there to say write a note. You just put them on something to keep in front of them once a month or whatever until you get the connection. But I made a connection with those 10 people, so they go on the 12-2 return plan, which is write the note, send an email in a week, send something in the mail the next week, and just boom, boom, boom. And when you write that note, guys, you're not, if you write that note and you craft it the way we've talked about, no I, me, or my, and it's after a connection, they're not going to ask to be removed from your mailing list, because your mailing list is so many different things. It never feels like you're hammering them with one thing at once, but you are staying in front of them, and you will eventually take over their mind share for that mortgage spot. So that's where that really works. So there's a little CE deal. Like if you could take any of our classes, somebody took one of the classes that you can download that you would do for a lunch and learn or a training event at the office, the AMA stuff. It was the AMA, one of the AMA courses, and he got it approved at the state level for CE. So there's an idea for you.
I'm back.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So Kim, you were talking about something to do with creating campaigns in
Total expert. Yeah.
I have not been able to figure anything like that out. Can you give me a little guidance as to what you're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. So keep in mind, this is not a drip campaign. We don't have the capability of doing that. What this is it's called an action plan. All right. So if you go into leads and contacts, and then you go into settings, and you click on action plan.
Hey, let me, are you doing it right now? Should I share it? Let you share your screen?
Sure.
I'm doing it too.
Yeah, let me pop on here and allow. Okay, we're going to make a co-host to you, if you'll accept that. And then you might be able to down at the bottom say share a screen. There you go. Okay, yeah, take us through this. This would be great.
Sure. So you would go over here to leads and contacts. Okay. And then you would go to action plans. Now, this one for listing agents was already in there from when I had Total Expert, but in this circumstance, what I did was I created a credit campaign. This is just an example so that you can see how it flows. You do most of everything that we're doing is more or less like touch points. So you do want to probably have an idea of what, I don't know. I don't think that if we're touching, we're just more on a personal touch, right, Brad? It's not so much sending them a flyer on anything.
Well, so yeah, on your timelines, you want to design how you want those touches to look, whether it's an email, text, and then you want to make sure you got the personal touch in there, which would probably show up in here as a to-do item that you got to physically do.
Okay.
Right.
So what this does is this is just an example of the credit one, right? And so on week one, I get a reminder on my task as well as in my Outlook that, hey, if I set somebody up with a credit under this credit campaign, I'm going to reach out and I'm going to email this particular situation. Now, meaning this particular flyer, right? Each week. Now, if I set this up, let me see if I go out here and say create.
Yeah, if you were to create a new one, just call it maybe a test. Then you can.
I'll just call it touch plan. And then I add my milestones, right? And add a task. I can name my milestone name. I'm not going to name it because what I'm going to do is just keep adding a task in here.
Yep. And that task, you can tell it is it always got to be an email, or can you change it to a call, or can you change it to something?
Let me go back and say, I don't think that it has to be an email. I can say, write a note, right? And then I say, I'm assigning it to myself. If you have an LOA, you might want to do that, but to me, it's just me. And then day one would be really day 0, which would start tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. And then the next one would be send a text,
And that
And
would be
then-
7 days later.
right? And then send
And these
a,
are gonna create reminders, you said?
yeah, and I'll show you how that works. Send a personal email. I'm gonna do 14. What's the next one, Brad? Let me just-
Text message.
I did that up here. Again, text.
Oh, then a phone call.
Okay. And this would be day 21. So let's just go ahead and save that. Okay, and then what'll happen is I'm going to go to myself.
By the way, while she's doing this, you guys, this is how you create a business that is a machine. Because once you start doing this every day, it's just running behind. You don't have to remember who you talked to last time. It will tell you it's time to talk to this person or do the next task.
So here I open up myself, right? Here's my information. And I want to add a task, add an action plan. And I'm going to do a touch plan for myself
Boom.
and save it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when I go to my tasks,
Yeah. It will show day 0 today.
well, now I'm gonna go to my tasks and my due dates for tasks. And should see, hold on. Still catching up here. Here we go. Complete. Info should show.
And the key here is that you keep up with this every day. Don't ever let it
Tim, I don't think
backlog.
you saved it.
Oh, then that's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, never let it backlog. In fact, if you fall too far behind, think of it this way. This is another hardest thing I'll ever challenge you to do. If you got 30 items that are over a week old, you haven't done them yet.
You just
So
have to
they must
edit
not
them
be
and
that
update 'em.
important. So delete them.
And that's what I've been going through today.
Yeah. It's okay to throw away and delete some stuff in the very beginning because you probably haven't developed the habit to stay with it every single day. And life happens. You get pulled out of the office for the whole day because somebody got sick and you had to be home with the kids. But the point is that you go in and you get as much done as you can. And if it falls too far behind, mentally, you've got to delete it because you didn't do it anyway. And now you're not doing the new stuff because you know you're behind on other stuff and everything's always behind. So I have literally thrown away stacks of letters. I've thrown away so much stuff and the business still comes in because for the most part, you are consistent.
Right, and the other thing you can do too with these tasks, which I pretty much have completed, I just needed to scratch them off. You can actually, if you say, hey, I really need to do that, I'll reschedule it for tomorrow,
Yep.
right?
You
If
can
it's that
reschedule
important,
it.
and you can go into and add it here. But what you can see right here is that here's the first one. Write a note. So I've tagged this to myself, pretend this is a realtor here in your task list. It tells you, oh, I need to reach out to my agent, Kimberly Smrek, and write a note to her.
Are you looking at all your tasks right now in all your task list with all your contacts?
Yes,
Can you click on title and will it sort it to where it puts all your notes together in one thing?
yes.
Puts all your calls together in one thing?
Well, the title, I don't necessarily do it like that. Here, you probably details. I'm going to do the details, I think, because that would be more
Well, and so
like phone call.
It would work like that if you started the name by either call, email, text.
call,
And
email.
then,
okay.
and then dash, and then whatever you need to say.
Right. So like I have a call here that I have to make to this person.
I just recently started doing that in my database. so
Yeah.
I can
Okay.
just bang on all the ones.
Okay, so is everybody got a concept of this screen? I'm going to switch back so I can see y'all because I want everybody
That's
to get
fine.
this now. All right, so what Ed was just talking about. Is there anybody that has any questions about what they just saw, or did you all follow the concept of what was happening there? Everybody
No,
give
that's
me a
great.
yes.
Yeah,
I
that's
did it.
amazing.
I'm gonna knock some of that out.
Yeah.
personally.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
now let me just, and again, what we're about in this coaching call is the mastermind is to talk about how do we plus that. So the first thing, Ed already gave you the first part. If it's call, email, to do, text, put that at the beginning of your campaign so that when you sort by the title, that will put all those together. The second thing is I left the touch 1, touch 2, touch 3 part generic. I didn't give it the title of credit repair with a credit score under such and such. I just left it as touch 1, touch 2, touch 3, and came up with a generic follow-up plan. But if it has call, text, to do, whatever, then you can sort by that and you can just grab all your calls and just knock your calls out. Boom, 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 boom. If it's early in the morning, you can go through and do your at computer stuff, which is your emails or whatever. Now, if you want to take it to the next level, if you have teams and some of your team members are doing some of this stuff for you, you add their name at the beginning of the campaign. So let's just say today I create the campaign that we were just talking about, but now I add a marketing person to my team. I could open up my campaign and anything that would be email marketing, I'm going to add their name in front of it so that from now on, and you should probably be able to copy that campaign,
You
duplicate
can actually
it.
assign it.
You can, right, I was gonna say,
There was
you
an
can actually
assign
assign that
button on-
task.
And the assign, you can do the assign to, so that way, though, then you can sort by that and give those people all their things today and just mark them done. Just give them their lists. And a lot of times you can even print that screen and hand it to somebody if you need to and say, these are your marching orders for today. So our campaigns all run with everybody's name in front of it, so we can divvy them out, and I can sort by that task item and get all of Lori's stuff together, get all of Ike's stuff together, and just give them their marching orders for the day. Takes maybe 20 minutes in the morning to divvy out everybody's things and get all of our task lists done for the day. So there's nothing sitting in there at the end of the day. So just another advanced level of where this is going to go with Total Expert. And it's what we were trying to do with Move Home and just couldn't get there. Just couldn't get there.
Hey, Brad, you'd be proud of me, man. I went out and actually got the cards. I'm making baby steps now.
All right.
I'm gonna raise my hand and be the first to admit that I suck at writing thank you notes.
Yeah.
My whole life.
I'm with you, Ed.
I'm
I-
so bad at writing thank you notes. Like, my wife is in charge of thank you notes. Like, I will do everything. I'll throw the party. I'll like do everything. You write the thank you notes. I need help.
Yeah.
If anyone has some good like I don't know, a Word doc or something with like thank you note, like generic thank you notes that y'all use that
Well,
you would be willing to share, like that would be so awesome.
I was just going to say, don't think of it as a thank you note, because a lot of times you don't need to thank somebody for it. We just connected, right? And that's where people get mentally kind of jacked up. When you go to buy a note card just to write somebody a note, I mean, you don't want to say thank you for meeting with me, you know. So here's the most generic personalized note card you can write without I, me, or my. And we're recording this, so you can capture as much as you can, but it's recorded. It was so great meeting today, or talking to you today, or however you connected with them, right? It was truly a pleasure to get to know you better. Looking forward to keeping in touch. Here's
See, I
what's
should have
crazy.
been on this call before yesterday because my notes said I.
Yeah. Well,
But it wasn't, it had nothing to do with business. It was like, I enjoyed meeting you or whatever, but that's the first one. I didn't catch that last time.
Yeah. Well, and let me just put that, for anybody who hasn't heard me say this enough yet, or sometimes even hearing it a few times helps. Hey, I'm so glad we met today. It was so great to get to know more about your business, and I'm available for you for anything to help you grow your business. Just let me know. I, me, all over it, right? But that was a good note. That's the normal note anybody would write. Hey, here's my card, let me know. PS, if you know anybody that wants to get approved, I'll get them approved. It's all about you. When you just do this on and I'm talking about, you don't have to write note cards to everybody all the time. Just one time that you write this one note, and it's right when you cross over that relationship. So great meeting. Glad to find out more about you. It was truly a pleasure to learn more about you. if you can say something about them, like that, if you can point out something about your laugh is so contagious, or, always love seeing your smile. Now, see, again, if I said always love seeing your smile, you got to be kind of connected a little bit to them to be able to say that, right? So the connection conversation has to be a little more than just, hey, what programs are available? Oh, we got a whole bunch of them. Great. I might send you somebody someday. Okay, great. That's probably not a real connection if you were just like doing that. But anyway, so it's like, if you can highlight something about them, great. And then just at the end, just say, looking forward to keeping in touch. It's like everything where you would say I, you can just drop the I and write the sentence out, and it doesn't need to be there. I look forward to keeping in touch. Look forward to keeping in touch is really what I write. Right. So, and if you do write I appreciate you sharing that, because probably for a year, I was still adding an I in there and a me. Don't crumple up the note card and throw it away. It is not going to stop the business from happening. You're just getting masterful at how they're going to receive it when you take it out, when you get it out. So just keep it simple, bud. Just literally, it was great connecting. Thanks for the time. Look forward to keeping in touch. That's all the note card has to say. And because it's handwriting, it's the hardest thing you have to do. So, man, keep it freaking short, right? Keep it way short so you can write them fast and be done with them.
160 characters or less. I got you.
All right. Anybody else want to throw anything in? Where we're at? We're already 10 minutes before the end of the hour.
I wanted to give you guys a heads up. I just got nailed with HomeBot for an extra $100 a month, because somehow, some way they did a client audit on all their accounts, and they noticed that I was over my limit by 87 from what they had been charging me, and they jacked up my payment by $100. However, I went in there and I'm looking at it and I'm like, hey, you guys, there are all these people that aren't receiving their reports, that have bad emails, blah, blah, blah. They don't care. If that name is in there, you're being charged for it. So you guys, I don't know, whoever uses HomeBot, make sure you log in and take a look at the very first activity screen, okay? And click on the drop down that says more details on the homeowners and buyers, and look at the amount of people that are not getting that. So I had 79 people had the email issues on my HomeBot, on the homeowners, and 109 under buyers. And so just by removing those, I saved myself $100. So heads up, y'all.
So this is
know.
perfect. I want to peel this layer back a minute. So let's just say HomeBot, for example, and you can plug in anything you're doing. If you're using BombBomb, which is the email videos, if you're using a newsletter that goes out that you think is awesome and you subscribe to and it goes out to people, or it's HomeBot. Here's where I want to plus you guys as a coach and really like be on purpose with it. So what he just said, if I want to put an agent on HomeBot, what are my 3 touches before I put them on HomeBot? And what are my 3 touches after I put them on HomeBot? And it's to build up the value of what HomeBot is. We have the call say, how cool if I just put your personal residence on here and you could see what the consumers see, right? And then the follow-up pieces, 7 days after I put them on, they get a call from me. And it's like, hey, just following up on that home report. Did you get it? Did you see it? Right. And then, so you're now building value. And here's what you're going to find out. Whenever you add these touches after you put your people on HomeBot, you're going to find that's probably 60 to 70% of them didn't even know they were on it. It's like, oh, no, I haven't seen it yet. What's it look like? So what we'll do on that plan is put yourself on HomeBot, right? So it comes into your email. Do a screenshot of what it looks like in your email with the title, how the subject line came in, so that those touches after would be a text message the day after. And it says, hey, watch for your email from HomeBot. That's your home report. And then 7 days later, I would drop in the mail that picture of what it looks like, and it would go in the mail. So they'd open it up and go, hey, did you receive your HomeBot report? They would also get an email with a picture of it that says from me directly outside of HomeBot that would say, here's what your HomeBot email looked like. So that would happen 4, 5, 6, 7 days later. And then 7 days after that, it's the phone call. And that's where I would call and say, hey, what'd you think of the report? So now what I did was I built in all these little safe things to make sure they opened it up and use it. And they're on that forever so that they're like, hey, did you get it? Hey, did you get it? Did you get it? Did you watch it? What do you think? Let me know what you think about it. And so it becomes, now it's not just an email, it's an interactive conversation piece, right? So there's another one of your bonus things that I definitely want to cover. Does that make any questions there?
You know what just clicked in my head when you said all that? When you're putting the agents on there, I don't know how many of you guys use the agent marketing playbook and subscribe to it, but now that you have their home address on HomeBot, maybe like your third or fourth touch when you're making that phone call to follow up with them, be like, hey, you know, I know you've gotten hopefully you've gotten some value out of HomeBot and you like the software. I also have this really cool magazine that we put out on a monthly basis, and kind of maybe use that as a segue to see if you can sign them up for the agent marketing.
Yeah.
And then you're hitting them with HomeBot on a monthly basis, and they're getting your.
And for
Well,
anybody,
I wanted to
Okay.
add on that too, right? Because I don't have HomeBot, but in the playbook, I think it was this month's playbook or last month's playbook, there was an article notification or whatever of how to ask for an agent's home address.
yeah, so we got, and actually, let me clarify, there's two different playbooks that you're hearing them talk about, guys. The LO playbook is for you to work on getting agents, businesses, and financial planners and all that. And then there's the agent playbook that is a hard copy that you mail out that has your cartoon character on it. That is a marketing guide for your real estate agent. So there's two different playbooks there that we're talking about. So you all should be getting the LO playbook. If you don't have that, let me know. The agent playbook, if you're interested in it, I can connect you with the printer and you can figure out what the cost, but I think it's around a little more than $1 a book. I mean, start with 25, right? If you just get it to 25 agents, but all of that revolves around that first conversation, moving them in. And I'll add one little script to this whole home. Like there's a script in this month's LO playbook about getting their address, but it could be as simple as this, guys. It's like, so do you find yourself working at the office a lot since COVID and all this other stuff, or do you work more from home? Oh, you work from home? Cool. What's your, I mean, I would just say, well, I want to make sure I stay in touch with you. Sometime we drop some really cool marketing ideas in the mail and I want to make sure you get it. So what's your home address? Is that the best word? Is that the best place to mail to you? And you see how I kind of led in with some marketing things to help agents with their business, or we might bring a big trainer in and they might drop some stuff in the mail once in a while. What's the best way to make sure you get it? Well, the best way is my home address. Great. What is that?
And
they
Brad, can you share the pop buys where we can order those? Because the playbook doesn't really say anything on that. It just says
it's John the printer, and you can
Okay.
just email me, and that's where the agent playbooks are and those pop by items as well. Yep. And he has a minimum, like, I don't know what the minimum order is, but like it's less than $100. I mean, I think the minimum order is like 75 or $100. I don't know. All right. Who didn't get to chime in that wanted to throw something in before we close out the room? We'll see if we can get it done in a couple minutes. Otherwise,
Just had a couple success stories I'll share.
Cool.
Yesterday, I actually did a little Top Golf event with some agents and stuff. They're regular agents that I work with regularly. And then next month, about a month from now, I'm going to be hosting a networking event, like a happy hour or whatever. Right now, I have about 20 to 25 confirmed, but I know there's going to be fallout from that. But I'm hoping, not too much. I'd love to have 20 people there. So, yeah, just working on doing the activities. I've sent some personal notes out and stuff like that. But my question for you, Brad, would be, if you're doing that and you're still not hearing back from certain agents, especially like this networking event, and you're not getting business from them, maybe you talk to them. What do you recommend to do to get them from being someone you network with, you talk to someone that's actually sending you business?
Yeah. So anytime you do any event, whether it's a networking event or, if you're doing it at a pub, you're doing whatever, if you're sharing some information with them, while you're there, you want to interact with as many of them as you can so you can put them on the brand plan, write them a note, and just flow with that. Okay. That's key number one, but you won't get everybody on that. The next piece would be, and on that event, I would say, what is your lead up to the event and what is your lead up after? And just think of it this way. Let's just say you go over a PowerPoint presentation or you give a couple of marketing tips or something. Would you be doing anything like that at the meeting?
I did not. No, it's going to be more of a happy hour type of thing. And the Top Golf was obviously a golfing thing.
No, right. Okay. So if it's a networking happy hour thing, then find 3 or 4 things about how to network at a high level or how to create the perfect elevator pitch. Like in our network group of local people, they give a 20-second infomercial. So what would what's your infomercial or how to network or things like that to follow up the event? You know what I'm saying? Maybe even wherever you are at the event, and this is just kind of go 10 plus in it, is that at the event, especially if you paid for the space, ask them if they have any kind of discount coupons that you want to send out to people afterwards. Hey, did you love where we did the networking event? Is this brewery? It's like, hey, you get 20% off or you get a free beer when you go in and mention my name with this coupon or something like
That's
that.
cool.
Right? So do fun stuff like that.
I like that. That's a good idea.
Yep. And if they have any events coming up, it could literally be a calendar of events going on at the event that you did your network event at. That can be your drip piece. So what I'll usually look for is something online that maybe it's like a YouTube video on master networking, right? And then if I'm sending a text message, it might be an app on how to scan people's business cards. And then the next piece might be how to create, elevator pitch or a discount to the place. So depending on if you're mixing up the mediums, find something appropriate for that medium so to get them to click it. And then what you're doing is you're staying in front of them 2, 3, and 4 weeks after the event, and then the phone call. And if you haven't gotten them already on your brand plan, you probably will somewhere on this phone call, right? And then you can throw them on this generic monthly thing until you finally get in or they get invited to the next event. Now, the next time you do the networking event, all of those people are on that list, and there's going to be 2 or 3 invitations by email, text, phone call, social media leading up to the event. And if they're on that and you do one a quarter, pretty soon you're going to start getting them following you. And if they miss this one, they'll be at the next one, and they just start showing back up more and more often.
One other thing I'll share with you guys that actually my branch leader and I were talking about and came up with, really he did, but he was sharing it with me. So for the event, I'm teaming up with a nonprofit. So anybody that brings in donations, they're going to get 2 poker chips, and the poker chips would be good for drinks or whatever. So it's really just to encourage them to whatever. So I had that branded with like my team logo. Sorry, if it's blurry here a little bit, but you get the gist. And then on the back of it, it has a QR code, and the QR code literally just brings up my contact information. It's a system called Blink, I think is what it's an app, and it's like $40 a year or something like that. And I was like, $40 to have my own QR code. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's embossed with my logo in the dead center of the QR code. It's pretty cool to have on the poker chips and stuff like that. So people are probably going to keep a couple of those, put them in their pocket, use them for maybe a golf mark or whatever. But it's just something that I thought I would share with you guys that is kind of a really cool idea. And I hope it pans out to, bring more people in.
So guys, just here again, this is what's so awesome about this type of call. You guys like this call format so far? Is this awesome? So look at
Yes.
this. If I'm going to do that chip and it's going to be the QR, did you guys hear how cool Jason thinks it is, right? So now if I'm going to be the chip dude for my area, like every realtor is going to want these freaking chips, he can build a whole gamification around how you get these chips from him. Right. So how he gets the chips, he's inviting people. You got the special invite. You got the chip because you came last time. You get 2 chips. If you bring another realtor from your office, you get an extra chip. And he starts building something around this stuff, guys. You can make it all fun. And then you become the chip guy. Where if we didn't say that, I mean, he'd just be like handing them out and giving them to people and they'd get their drink and everything would still be good and you might get some business. But if you create this branding attraction around you that people end up wanting to do and be a part of it, that's where it's going to be fun.
You know what? It just made me think, Jason, each chip having its own unique
QR
picture or
code.
what, well, not QR code, but its own picture. So think about like the quarter has its own picture. You have a picture of bat for COVID. You have a picture of this for this. So make it a collection of chips that people want to collect.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Just make it unique. Hey, I want that one. How do I
Hey.
get that one?
And work your way
You
up
get
to
these chips made.
Yeah.
work your way up to the
Pokerchips.com,
VIP chip.
Amber.
Yeah.
It's,
Work your way up.
they're actually in St. Pete. I was surprised. I got lucky. They're like not even an hour from me.
Yeah.
But they only
That's an
took,
awesome idea. I love that.
yeah, and they're high quality too. Like they're not like stickers. They're like laser imprinted. I forget what they call it, but if you look, it's really good. Like you can't even peel it off. Like it would take a lot of effort to even try and peel it off. Doesn't look like it's gonna rub off. It's really good. I mean, it's meant for you to actually play poker and it to not get rubbed off while people are playing with their poker chips. So it should last a while.
They
I
look
think your
pretty
biggest
cool.
issue would be people.
Yeah, I just think that's a really cool idea.
So
Yeah.
here's how we're going to
And-
close this out. This is
Okay.
perfect. Every idea, no matter how cool it is, put something before it, something after it, create its own thing before you sign up for it, and have a strategic plan in place to make that thing. The playbooks are the same way. Like if you're going to give a playbook out, but you want to bring it to life, tear a page out and send it in the mail 2 weeks after you give them the book and say, hey, did you see this page in there? And they're like, where's my book? You know, just create value around whatever they're getting. So it's not just give it to them and see what happens. So just hopefully you take away from this call every single thing, whether it's a chip, whether it's a book, whether it's, HomeBot, that you take it to the next level and create a campaign around it and make it come to life. And that's where you're going to get 6, 7, 8 times more business from that item. So great call today, guys. We might have to do this one again.
Yeah, that
Right.
was good. Thank you.
You betcha. All right, guys. Anything else before we tune out? All right. We'll see you
Thank
all
you,
on your
guys.
calls.
Take it
Yeah.
easy.